So in this example, we have Lance, who started his own construction business 2 years ago. Because his business has grown so quickly, his home office space isn't enough, and he needs to get an actual office for his business. He's considering two options. First one is to sign a 3-year lease on office space. Monthly rental is $2,000. There's a deposit of $2,000, but this is refundable. Often when you lease a place, whether it's for a business or for your own personal living, you'll have what's called a damage deposit, which is just some money you pay up front, usually the same as 1 month's rent, so that when you move out, in case there is any damage, that the landlord can collect and make sure that it's paid for. If there's no damage to the place, you get that money back. However, with this lease, there is a penalty for breaking the lease. So if Lance decides after 1 year that this place isn't enough, or maybe his business goes under in a year, there is a penalty he will have to pay to break the lease and give up the office space. The other option he's looking at is purchasing a house for $285,000 and renovating it so it can be used as an office. The renovation cost would be minimal since Lance owns a construction business. What he would need to buy this house is a 5% down payment. He would take out a 15-year mortgage at 5% compounded semi-annually with monthly payments. Now this last bit, assume appreciation of 2% yearly, means that the value of this home would go up 2% every year. Most real estate does go up in value. Sometimes it's more than 2%. Sometimes it does go down, but almost always the value of real estate goes up. So when Lance decides to sell this house, he would likely be able to sell it for more than $285,000. So in question A, the costs of leasing, well, there's a $2,000 a month payment plus a $2,000 down payment. Pretty simple on the lease costs. Cost of buying, not quite as simple. We do need to work out what his monthly payment would be on this mortgage. We know that the cost of the house is $285,000, but he won't be getting the mortgage for all of that amount. He will be paying 5% as a down payment. We need to figure out what that is. So 5% of $285,000, 0.05 times $285,000. Would mean Lance would need a down payment of $14,250. We can pause for a second, compare that to the lease. The lease needs a $2,000 down payment. The mortgage needs a $14,000 down payment. So it could be a disadvantage on the mortgage. The actual mortgage value, the amount that the bank will loan him, would be the $285,000 cost of this house minus his down payment. Means that Lance would take out a mortgage for $270,750. That will be his present value. His number of payments, he's paying this for 15 years and he's paying it monthly. So 15 times 12, 180 total payments. His interest is 5%. It is compounded semi-annually, which means twice per year. We don't know his payment amount. His final value will be 0, and he will be making 12 payments per year. So we can go and calculate out his payment amount. Same place as it's always been, under Apps, Finance, TVM Solver. inputting 180 payments, 5% interest, 270,750, and changing compounds to 2. Quit out of that second mode. Go back into the finance apps. Calculate his payment amount. Gives us a mortgage payment of $2133.85 per month. So now with question C, we may need to make a judgment. And again, I'm not going to make one for you. I'm just going to spell out the advantages and disadvantages to each choice. With the lease, he is only, as you can see here, locked into the lease for 3 years. So after 3 years, if Lance changes his mind, wants a different place, maybe the business fails after 3 years, as long as he holds this office for 3 years, he doesn't have to pay a penalty. That could be an advantage or also a disadvantage. With the house, he could choose to sell it at any time. He doesn't have to wait the 3 years to avoid a penalty. Looking at the deposits or the down payments that they need, the lease needs a $2,000 down payment. The mortgage needs a $14,000 down payment. So significantly bigger down payment on the mortgage. As for the monthly payments, the mortgage is a little bit more expensive, $133 a month. However, at the end of this business, or when Lance decides to move, maybe get a different place, Lance can go and sell the house. So he may be paying an extra $130 a month on the mortgage, but he also has an asset in his hands. Maybe for Lance, that extra little bit of money each month is worth having the asset that he can sell. Maybe it's not. Maybe that extra down payment is more than he can afford in his business. Maybe it's not. Many people in this case would choose the lease because it is cheaper in all ways. It does have the disadvantage of being locked in for a minimum of 3 years. Many people also choose the mortgage. While it may be larger payments, both the down payment and the monthly payment, having that asset in the end to sell and recoup some of that money that you've lost by spending more each month, that might be an advantage. So I won't make the choice for you. It all depends on how you see this and what you feel is the best option. But this is what the numbers state, and it's up to you. Sometimes it's the cheapest option that you choose, and that's fine. Sometimes it's not, so long as you can justify and give me an explanation why.